guys, I'm Jessica Harris and I have a fun tutorial for you today. I'm going to show you how to create this golden metallic stripe that's along the top of this tier. This is on my metallic mermaid cake, I call it. I actually taught how to do this bottom tier in my Craftsy class called the Clean and Simple Collection, Playful Techniques. I show how to gradient the fondant from the kind of a light turquoise to this darker royal blue, and then how to put on these beautiful little metallic scales without an airbrush. So if you don't have an airbrush, then this class is for you, because I don't have one either that I use. But we didn't have time for me to show you guys how to create that top metallic stripe, which kind of gives you this beautiful, almost inlaid gold look. So I want to make sure I showed you how to do that in case you want to make this cake, and if you haven't taken my class, it's just a fun technique that you can use on your next cake project. So let me get set up and I will show you how to do it. Alright, so I've got my little blue fondant cake. You can use any color fondant, obviously, and any color metallic. So the sky's the limit. Use your imagination. You can have a lot of fun with this technique. And the first thing that I did is I have a squeaky floor, see? You'll hear it kind of throughout the tutorial. Sorry. But I've got this little Wilton marker, and I use it whenever I want to create, good level stripes around my cake. The only downfall is it's a 1/2 inch stripe, so if you want anything smaller, then all you need is a straight edge and some tape and a needle, and just tape a needle. Use like a ruler and tape a needle onto the exact size or height that you want, and then use that to go around your cake. You don't have to have this tool, but I have it. It's really inexpensive, and so I use it. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch stripe. So all I did was I took my freshly fondant covered cake. This has been covered probably about 2 hours ago. And I just take my little Wilton guy, or again, you can use your straight edge, and I just place it on this side, and then I just pull it around the cake, and it impresses a nice double 1/2 inch stripe. And then I've got this craft tape that I bought at the store. This is a Martha Stewart craft tape. Actually, it's great because it's not super sticky, so it's not going to pull off my fondant. That's the most important thing, is to make sure that the tape that you're using is not like duct tape, which is going to totally ruin the finish on your fondant. So get the right kind of tape. I find this one works great. Like I said, it's a craft tape by Martha Stewart. And what I did is I already went around. I didn't go all the way around the cake because this is just for tutorial purposes only. But so I'm just going to take a piece off. Just tear one. Usually you could just keep going. And I'm just going to line it up just on the underside of that stripe that I made, that impression line. And we're just going to kind of just do this little front part here, because I know you guys can figure out how to put this all the way around your cake. And see, it's not quite even sticking on the sides right here because it's not super sticky tape. The most important thing though is to make sure, and you can use a fondant smoother for the top so you don't dent your fondant, but make sure this top edge, or the edge that's on either side of the stripe, that's really what you want to make sure gets adhered to the fondant. So just take a second, kind of rub that out, make sure it's nice and adhered. You can also use this technique with modeling chocolate. In fact, the little metallic mermaid cake that you saw earlier, that actually is just wrapped with modeling chocolate. So you can absolutely do this with modeling chocolate too. Okay, so it feels good. Now what you're gonna do is, I have this little dusting brush that I actually love using with this technique. This is just a little Wilton dusting brush, and I've got this super gold powder from CK Products, and all I'm doing is dry dusting. That's the fun thing about this, is you're not really painting. And so I'm going to load up my dusting brush, the little powder, and I just use the cup, the little lid, because then it's easy to put back in. And you're going to go ahead and just start putting the powder on there. And because it's slightly fresh fondant, it sticks really well. You can kind of see how it's sticking right on to the fondant. Now if your fondant, if it's not sticking super well, then all you need to do is either kind of do a light steam on it and then let it sit for an hour, or you can actually kind of rub it with a little bit of shortening and then buff that shortening out really good. Make sure that the shortening doesn't stay on there, but at least it kind of moistens that surface a little bit. And the thing with this is you want to work in layers. So you go around and you get as much to stick as possible. You dust it on as best you can. Go over here a little bit more. And then once you go around, you just do a second layer, because see, you can kind of see that it's a little bit, it's not super even. So after, I'd go all the way around with your first coat and then go back with a second coat. And you'll slowly hide that dark fondant underneath. And again, if you've got, like a light fondant, you might not even need to do a second coat. But because this is so dark, you kind of need a second coat. Okay, so once you get that all done, again, I'm just gonna do this front. I know you guys can figure out how to go all the way around. So that looks pretty good. Then what you're gonna wanna do is set the metallic, the powder, because you're not using, any kind of, lemon extract, which is usually what I would use with my powders. So what I'm gonna do is turn my steamer on. I'll show it to you first. It's this little, my little steamer Go Mini. And I have all the links for these tools I use on my website. It's under the favorite tools tab. I'm just gonna wipe up some of this metallic powder that kind of had excess here. Anyways, all my favorite tools are on my website. It's just Jessica Harris Cake Design. They're really easy to find. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off. I'm gonna turn my steamer on, so it might get kind of loud. Sounds like a spaceship taking off. But look at this beautiful stripe. You see what a clean line it has on it? And the tape's peeling right off. You really don't see any residue from the tape. But what's great about the steamer is it actually takes off that tape residue too and kind of evens out your fondant. So if you do get a little bit of texture from the tape, like it might lift the fondant a little bit, the steam actually totally helps. It actually looks kind of cool having it fade like that. Kind of see how it fades. That might be another design idea. A fading stripe. Anyway, so once you get your stripe nice and even, you pull your tape off. Then you just take your steamer, and you can probably hardly see it, but I'm just gonna go back and forth over it, and you don't want to get it super wet, like you don't want it dripping, but you do just want to get it moist like that, and then let it dry. And that's gonna set that beautiful luster gold so that if you accidentally touch it, it's not gonna come off on your hands. It kind of sets it onto the cake. So the cake's super shiny now, so again, you're just gonna let it dry. The great thing about the steamer is it does take off any kind of texture again from the tape. It also takes off any cornstarch that's left over from covering it, so it gives you this great little satin finish once it dries. But that's how you create that stripe. It's really easy. It doesn't require a lot of tools or, a huge investment, but you just need that metallic powder and some pretty simple and inexpensive craft tape. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and stay tuned for more, because there's a couple other things that I didn't get a chance to show in this class that I am definitely doing tutorials for. So stay tuned, and if you guys are interested in taking the class, I probably have 25 different techniques like that in this class. It's a huge class. Again, it's called the Clean and Simple Collection, Playful Techniques, and there's always a 50% off coupon, kind of like a link code on my website. Thanks, you guys. Take care.